All right. Um, just give me a moment here. I just want to make sure everything's up and running smoothly, and then we'll get right into it. Um, so I'm gonna, of course, start off with saying Shalom. Of course, I have to give all praise to Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And this is gonna be just an open chat. Um, but one thing I wanted to start off with was if you saw the thumbnail on this stream, right? I was a screenshot I took of this character name. Oh shit, what's that guy's name? Off the grid desert farming with Paul and Adrian, right? Which I'm only subscribed to this guy's channel because I like his like news updates that he does. Every 24 hours. He'll do a stream usually in the evening. About the war going on and about stuff like that. So I like to listen to his, because he gives good information there. He'll read over articles that I might not have seen, and stuff like that. So I'm subscribed to him, for that reason. Not the religious part, because he's one of those Jesus freaks, right? Jesus this, Jesus that. You better get right, or you're gonna, go down the hill is what they say. But you know, it's just funny. It's funny because I went on one of his pages, right? And I was just putting in the comment section, Jesus is black. Research it. That's what I said. And the comment got like maybe 20 responses. And I was surprised that even he took the time to respond to it, because you wouldn't expect a channel that has 60, 70,000 subscribers, to have the time to respond to the hundreds of comments that they're getting, every hour, right? And the thousands they get a day. So that was surprising that he actually responded. Um, basically what he was saying is, oh, it's like, why do people make it into such a problem, about, Christ looking like this, Christ looking like that. It's like, why is that, you know, a topic that needs to be discussed? What Christ looks like. It's like, well, the reason we talk about it is because because it's mentioned in the scriptures. That's the reason why we bring it up. Let's say this, because they'll be like, oh, and he said in the comment, if you read it, he said, oh, it doesn't matter if Christ is pink, rainbow color, orange, green. It doesn't matter if you look like that. As long as you got his message right, which his message, as Paul said in the comment there, was he died for everybody, and if you don't believe, then you'll go to hell, or something like that, which is pure bullshit. But you can't really expect them to understand. Scriptures speak about scriptures say wisdom's too high for a fool, right? So you won't expect them to know that. Hell, this guy just put up an hour and 30-minute video yesterday, trying to prove that Trump is the Antichrist. So that's funny. But going back to the question, right? If it didn't matter what Christ looked like, well, why would the scriptures tell you what he looked like if it was no importance? And then second, if you're saying, oh, it doesn't matter, if Christ, is depicted as green, blue, orange, it doesn't matter, as long as you believe in the message. So if that's the case, well, how would you feel if someone depicted Christ as looking like a gray, right? the gray aliens, right? How would you feel if someone depicted Christ like that? I'm sure you'd be upset about that, right? But wouldn't that be hypocrisy? Because you said in your comment that it didn't matter, what Christ looked like. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just hypocrisy. The real answer is that guys just don't want to admit that that Jesus is a so-called black man, right? Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, because his name's not Jesus. The name's Yahweh Shai. But you know, why is it that such a problem? To accept that Christ is a so-called black man. Like, why is that so difficult? He'd rather accept him being green or being orange, before he accepts him being black. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. Let's hit some of these comments here. Hey, what's up, Ruby? Inside joke. He asked, "How long have you thought Jesus was black?" Um, to answer that, oh, and by the way, it's not fault, right? It's or thinks. I know that Christ is black because I've actually read the Bible, and there's a couple ways you can prove it. For one, it gives you his physical depiction, but then second, we know that Christ was a Judite, right? Hebrews 7:14. It's evident that our Lord sprang out of the tribe of Judah, right? So if Christ was a Judite, we know that the Judites are so-called Negroes, right? So-called blacks are the Judites of the Bible, right? So now we know that, we can conclude that Christ was black then, going by that fact that he was from a tribe of Judah, which are black, right? So I mean, you have two easy ways to prove what the physical, depiction of Christ looks like. Hey, what's up, Manny? They got the mind of golf in the chat. He said, White Jeebus will return to save Good Serpent in 2025. Yeah, as I said, man, it's like Jesus, man. Even emotes are snoring at this point, of how boring, Good Servant's live streams are. It's like, Jesus, man, how the hell can you literally day in, day out, at least 2 times a day, often, right? Most of the time, it's 2 times a day he does his shows, like an hour each or whatever. It's like, how the hell can you not get tired, and run out of topics to talk about? Because literally it's just, Jesus this, Jesus that, you know, uh, they don't really use any scriptures, and if they do use them, they don't understand them, but it's just ridiculous. And then people would actually come and defend individuals like that. Like I saw there was like what, 2 people on Jay's stream a couple days ago, come and try to defend, Good Serpent. We give the guy, months, to come actually hop on and have a discussion, and he won't do it. And then when we go on his page to try to jump on to have a friendly chat, he won't let us come on. So it's like, come on, man. It's like, what the hell's the problem? Ridiculous. How long did I start to believe that? I'd say, let me see. I'd say about 6 years ago. So Ruby, to answer your question, it was about 6 years ago. Hey, Shalom, prisoners of hope. Shalom. Yeah, so I believe that for say 6 years. Uh, let's see. But yeah, man, it's just crazy. The nonsense, and especially this, man. I was watching earlier the Mind of Golf, put up a video. Which Mind of Golf, you can put a link to that in the comments here, if you know what I'm talking about. Earlier, you put up that news clip, and they were basically explaining that, these people over here in America are miserable, right? Um, and he's right. right? He's right on that. These people out here, these Babylonians out here in Babylon the Great, man, these people are off the chain, man. Especially the niggas, right? These people are lost their damn mind out here. And let me tell you something, man. Earlier, I was taking a walk, man. Oh, and to answer someone's question, right now I'm in Pennsylvania tonight. Is where I'm at the moment. Um, that's the that's where I'm at. I'm somewhere near Pennsylvania right now. Let's see. Yeah, he put a link there. Yeah, everyone check that video out. That's man, it shows the time that we're in, man. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Jake is just worried about money and looking fresh. Yeah, man. As I said, these guys out here, man, are losing their minds out here. I can't even tell you the amount of people, man. When I go out for a walk, like today, I was at which I can give the location because it's a public area, right? Thousands of people in there. But I was at I believe it's called 25th Street, if I'm not mistaken, over in Easton, right? And right next to that Dixie Cup factory. You can look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But in that area, right, I was not walking too far from there. You could just see, man, that these people are bugging the hell out, man. Everybody's face is doom and gloom. You know what I'm saying? And then I heard a couple people getting into an argument. Right, there's one argument, and then down the street, there's another one. I mean, oh, it's terrible, man. And then when I was in one of the stores on the little strip they got there, um, the person in front of me, they had to put something back because they couldn't afford, to pay for it. So it's just showing you, man, that everybody out here except for the 1%, everyone else is doing terrible out here, man. And they ain't gonna tell you that on the news. All right, even that one news clip earlier, that was surprising that they came out and basically said, things aren't going too well over here. That's surprising that they actually said that. But it's getting so bad that they can't even lie about it anymore because the people are just seeing right through it. Even the people who don't know what the hell is going on, even they're starting to see through this. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing, even though they're not in the know. It just shows you that, it's so obvious that even someone who's not in the know is now starting to see. uh Ruby, why do you think I was in California? Let's see. Yeah, Minor Golf put the title of the video. It says nearly 80% of voters say the US is on the wrong track. Yeah, this place is circling the drain. I mean, hell, first of all, the head of America right now, which is Joe Biden, right? Man, this guy, he said in the video, man, that we got to, fund Russia, in its defense against Ukraine is what he said in one of his speeches. It's like, wait a second, what did you say that wrong? And then someone called him out before because he made a statement speaking of the American troops that they were sending, to train the Ukrainians. He said, speaking of the American troops, oh, when you're over there, and I'm nearly paraphrasing, he said, oh, you're going to see, Russian soldiers, over there. And this is what you're going to do when you're in combat, talking to the American soldiers. It's like, wait a second, what? I thought we weren't over there. Right. So it just shows you, man, there's just too much slip ups that are coming up with this character. And then in the new clip that's going around, this guy's up on stage. He turns around to give someone a handshake, and, the people usually behind him. And no one's there. So he turns the other direction to give them a handshake because he thought they were there, and no one's there. So, I mean, it's like, what the hell's going on? Something weird's happening, man. Somehow people just can't see it. Yeah, Khan, that's true, man. Hey, what's up, Babel? Yeah, man, it's just it's crazy out here, man. That's all I can say, man. It's just it's unbelievable, what we're seeing out here, man. I mean, this is just clear signs, that the empire is finished. It's a wrap for this place, man. I mean, it's unbelievable the how bad this place is, man. It's unbelievable how bad, these people are doing out there, in Babylon the Great, which ain't no Vatican City. Because this cat that came on my golf show the other day, I believe his name was Austin or something like that. He was like, oh, the Catholic Church, the mystery religions, that's all Babylon. It's like, well, wait a second, what the hell are you talking about? Which Mina Golf should have asked him, like, why do you have that standpoint? Like, what is, one or two points that you could give me for why you have that position? Is what we should have asked him. And if I was on there, I would have hopped on his ass about that one. I mean, that's that 7 day Adventist, bullshit right there, man. Which I was thinking, man, I might run up on a couple of these churches soon, and combat them on those scriptures. Because there's a couple churches nearby. There's a 7 day Adventist church near the area I talked about a few minutes ago. Yeah, I might have to contact them because they literally put the pastor's phone number, right, his personal phone number. They put it on their website. So I might call that guy up and ask him, like, who are the Edomites? Who, like, certain questions in the scriptures, like what Alizé did, right? He called a Christian pastor one time, and he was actually having a civil discussion, sounding like he's curious to know the answer, and that's the way you got to be, right? So, if you have a conversation with them, let's just pick a random topic, such as John the Baptist being Elijah, right? You might, try to be slick with them, sound it like, make it sound like you're not necessarily having a debate because then people want to just, back away and not want to talk. But if you make it sound like, you're just trying to inquire about their position about it, you can be like, oh, I've heard, guys talk about, John the Baptist, was Elijah, and then we show the verse, in question of why we have that position. And then you see, like, do you agree with that? Like, what do you think about that scripture? For an example, what is that? Matthew 17:10, right, which proves that John the Baptist was Elijah in reincarnation. The Christians don't know that because they think that reincarnation is like a Hindu belief, right? Or just nonsense is what they believe. Most of these Christians, I mean, there's a handful maybe here or there who might be open to the idea, but the mainstream Christian churches, when you're asked about reincarnation, or I should say, when you ask them about reincarnation, they'll tell you that that's like like a satanic, Hindu or belief or something along those lines. That's what they'll say. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. As I said, man, you got a 501c3 church, which is pretty much every church in America. They're under that 501c3, right? The tax exempt. They can keep what they make from their tithes and whatnot. But they're limited with what they can say. So they sold out. They definitely sold out, man. So yeah, they're easy peasy, man. you know, it's fun to deal with Christians sometimes. Some would say it's a waste of time, but I personally think it's fun to deal with them, because you can sharpen your sword that way by asking them certain questions, about the scriptures. Because they don't have the answer, but it's just fun to see how they can respond to it. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. If a Christian says, oh, after you die, if you're wicked, you go right to hell. If you're righteous, you go right to heaven. It's like you ask, okay, well, wait a second. Why did Samuel tell King Saul that they were both gonna rest together when they both passed away? I thought Saul was an unrighteous man, and Samuel was a righteous man, right? So that's a cut right there. Or certain things like that. I mean, you got to be. It's easy work, man. That's, for lack of better words, it's easy to deal with Christians. It's not at all hard to deal with someone who subscribes to the mainstream, you know, uh, Christian beliefs. Not at all hard. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Man, it's hot as hell out here, man. Just trying to read the chat real quick. Right, but as I said, man, this place, it can't go on the way it is right now, man. This place can't go on in the position that these inhabitants, right, the American people, find themselves in. This place can't go on like this. And hell, man, I'll tell you this, man. I've had it hard, growing up and whatnot. I've never had it easy. There's never any, money to do anything fun. Can never go anywhere. Can't take any vacations. Maybe one vacation every couple of years. Something small. You know what I'm saying? So, the best I've got was maybe going to the beach for a night. The longest we've ever went would maybe be 2 days at a hotel on the beach. That would probably be, the longest vacation I've had. But yeah, I didn't really get to have many of those. Maybe one or two here or there, growing up, but not many. You know what I'm saying? So I've had it hard. I've never had it easy, but I take 6 years ago any day, compared to now. Me just speaking as a man. Hell, man, I'd take 6 years ago any day compared to now. That's for damn sure. Back then, back then was bad too, but this is overkill. This is, Christ, man, this is too much. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's why Christ said in, what is that? John, the 16th chapter. He said, hey, look, in me you'll have peace, but in the world you'll have tribulation, right? In me you'll have peace, but in the world you'll have tribulation. So that's what it is, man. You got to go through something, man. In order to make it to the kingdom of heaven, which, by the way, has not happened yet. In contradictory to what Primal Man, and all these other full preterists like Pastor William Bell, and all of them try to say, try to sell it off to you that Christ brought the kingdom in 70 A.D. So now, right now, today in 2022, we're living, according to these guys, right? They're saying that, here it is, we're in the year 2022, and yet we're living in the kingdom of heaven today, is what they say. It's like, how the hell could someone believe that? So you're telling me, with all of the financially destitute families out here, right? With all of the, the millions of children in Africa, who are dying of dehydration and starvation. And what about the billions of people around the world who are maybe, non-religious or believing in, a different form of God or religion? So those people are all under Christ's dominion today, though, according to William Bell and Primal Man and the rest of the, the full preterist movement. I mean, that's unbelievable, man. But they genuinely believe that, right? They sincerely believe that and will defend that, tooth and nail. I mean, that's just unbelievable how somebody could believe such bullshit such as that. And you'd think, it's like, are you kidding around or are you being serious? And then you find out, they're dead serious. They're not joking around. They're being dead serious with what they're saying, man. Let's see. Oh, and then going back to what I was talking about earlier, on the comment I put on the thumbnail, right? Paul's on there like, oh, as long as you accept that Christ went on the cross, as he says for all people, right? All nations is what he said, and accept that, well, then you'll be saved from going to hell, is what it'll say. It's like, well, wait, well, what is hell in the Bible? In the Bible, hell, it depends on the context that the word's used in, but it all means the same thing. It's a condition of suffering that takes place on the physical earth. So the place where judgment takes place is on the earth, so we can call earth hell. Did you ever hear somebody make a statement and say that, that I'm catching hell or something like that? It means what? They're going through a position of difficulty. So where does that take place? That takes place on the earth, right? And according to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 16, where they saw a place underneath the sun and judgment was there. Right. So the place where judgment takes place would be the physical earth that we live on. It's not underground, where people are burning forever. Nah, that's all BS right there. That ain't true. Scriptures say that both the good and the wicked rest together when they die. Job the third chapter. So Christians don't really know what the hell's going on. Ruby, to answer that question, I which I'll answer it. Right, that's fine. What do I play as in my free time? Uh, I used to play. Here's a little story. I used to be like the top, in the top clan, in Pixel Gun 3D. You can look that up if you don't know what that is. But back when I was growing up, I used to be one of literally the top clan in the world out of like, this was a big game, man. You had like, hundreds of millions of people worldwide who played this video game, this mobile game. You can look it up. And I was in the top alliance on that. So I used to be big into my games. I still play, now here or there in my free time, but I'm not really, I don't spend much time doing that right now. I still play, but that's not my main focus right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm more focused on, learning, the skibbies, as Mike would say, right? As Pop's son, right? Poop's son, inside joke. But yeah, as he said, it'd be more, more so study the scriptures, and watch debates and, stuff like that. That's more entertaining now. That's what I do more so now. But yeah, every once in a while I'll play a game or something. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Everyone has their own hobbies. Uh, let's see. I mean, hell, man. Does good servant even teach it? There's such a thing as a rapture, right? As the gathering together of the elect. Does he even teach that? As I said, I mean, it's hard to even, get through what this guy's trying to say, because I'll just say this. It's hard to even sit back and listen to what this character's saying because it's such bullshit. It's unbelievable. Anyone could sit there and buy that. And then I saw something earlier. I was looking at, what's these guys? Oh shit, I can't remember the name. It was a channel that Raphael recommended that we watch. Um, Damn, I can't remember. I think it was Georgia TV or something like that. It could be mistaken. Um, I tuned in earlier, just to listen for a couple minutes. These guys are doing a live stream literally about 12 hours now. It's like, damn, they're about to dethrone, Samuel Owens, right? They're about to dethrone Samuel Owen on his, 12-hour, live stream, record that he set. It was like, damn, I can't even 11 hours. That's that's a bit too long right there. I can't even pay attention for that long. I mean, hell, I can sit here for 3, maybe 4 or 5 hours, and have a discussion on what's the app we use, StreamYard. I can do that fine. Even 6 hours we've done, if not longer. But damn, 11, 12 hours. I mean, damn, that's too much right there. Surprised they can even feel their legs after sitting down that long. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, Ruby. I used to play that game, man, all the time. I used to be, as I said, in the top alliance on that game. I want to say maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't really even have an account on there anymore, but I used to play that. That used to be one of my favorites, to play in my free time. Let's see. Uh, Rudy said, suffering happens on earth while people are alive. Hell is a fiery place. Well, you'd have to show me that in the Bible, because when you deal with the scriptures, it hell represents, it depends, as I said, it depends on the scripture in question. It can either mean the grave, a condition of suffering, and pretty much that's it. Inside joke. But that's pretty much what it means. And where's that judgment take place? It takes place on the earth. So there's people are not burning in any type of hell. That's all nonsense, man. You'd have to just show me where it says that, and the verses that speak about a burning. Those are like parabolic scriptures about the judgment to happen in the future, which I agree with you. I do agree with you. It will be by a fire. That is true. I'm not denying that there will be a punishment in the future that happens by fire. That's true, right? That's called the lake of fire. So we'll agree on that. That there is a future judgment that will involve fire. That's true. But we can't call that hell, because someone will hear what I said and be like, "Oh, well, then you guys got to believe in hell then, because you just said there's going to be a judgment." But the lake of fire is not talking about hell, because if you go to Revelation chapter 20, verse 14, it says, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire." This is the second death. Right, so a hell, meaning what? A condition of suffering that plays out on the earth, is going to be cast into the lake of fire. Meaning what? That's going to be done away with. That's what it means. Let's see. Let me see. He put up Matthew 13 verse 50. Will throw them into the furnace of fire. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then he said, "Hell is fire, and lake of fire is fire." Yeah, I agree with you on that, but the lake of fire is not hell, because the verse I literally quoted said it's not hell. Revelation 20 verse 14, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire." So how could the lake of fire be hell if it said that hell was going to be cast into the lake of fire? That don't make sense. Yeah, yeah. Well, the earth is yeah, you could say earth is hell, because what is hell? Hell is a condition of suffering in the Bible, or it can mean the grave. But where does suffering take place? It takes place on the earth. So yeah, you can call the earth hell, because this is where judgment takes place. So if you want to say hell's a place, you're technically right on that, because the place where judgment takes place is the earth. So just to clarify something real quick, because guys will hear us, certain guys will hear us make statements in videos where I'll give you an example, right? If someone makes a statement and says hell doesn't exist, what do they mean by that? They mean in the Christian idea of hell, such as, there's not a place where people are burning, a guy in a, with a pitchfork is, torturing them in hell. That's the Christian ideology of what hell is. So if we make a statement and say hell isn't real, that's what we're saying isn't real. We understand that the Bible talks about hell. We understand that. And we understand that that place is talking about here, right? The earth is where judgment takes place. That's understandable. So when we make a statement and say hell is not real, we're talking about the Christian understanding of what hell means. All right, just to clarify that. Because somebody will be like, well, wait, but you guys said hell wasn't real, but then in this other video, you guys said the earth is hell. So how does that make sense? And the answer to that is hell is in the Bible, but the understanding of the public about what that means is invalid. Okay? Just to clarify what that means when you hear us make that statement. Bear with me for a moment. I just gotta check something real quick. If anyone has any questions or whatever, you're welcome to post it in the chat. Yeah, this guy, man, this guy off the grid desert farming, this guy's going crazy, man. 45 biblical reasons on why Trump is the Antichrist is one of his newest videos. It's like, well, if you read the Bible, you know there's not one Antichrist. What is that? 1 John 2:18. I believe it's also in verse 22. It tells you that an Antichrist is anyone that denies that, as it says, Christ, right, came in the flesh, right? That's what it means. Bear with me for a second. Oh, excuse me, I lost my train of thought because I was just reading a comment someone put up, so I forget what I even was just talking about. My apology. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, Ruby said, Earth meets criteria of definition of hell, but Earth's judgment is obviously. I think that's what he's trying to say. Obviously. I think he misspelled these words here, so I'm having a hard time understanding. But what he's saying in a nutshell is, let me read again. But Earth's judgment is obviously different from the future big judgment. Well, the future big judgment, which is the lake of fire, that happens on the earth, though. Right? So my question to you, right, if you would disagree with that, well, where, if it's not happening on the earth, right, this future judgment, which is the lake of fire, and I agree with you, that's going to happen in the future. But if that's not on the earth, where is that at? It can't be in the spiritual realm, because in order to feel pain, you have to have a physical body. Right? So, I mean, you'd have to answer that for me, Ruby. Let's see. Hey, we got Rebel Nazarene in the chat. Shalom. Let me just open this drink real quick. I'll be right back. All right, let's see. Let's see what's in the chat. Rebel said, E.T., you still think the sons of God from Genesis 6 are Israelites, even though Israel wasn't even a nation before the flood? Well, the Lord always had his chosen line, right? So the Lord always had his chosen line, right? So that would be my understanding. So the line that That was before them. That was the chosen line, right? Because going back to Adam and Eve, right, you have to understand there were more people on the earth than them. Now, and that's a whole nother can of beans right there. So we're not going to get into that, but it wasn't just two people. It represents there's nations of people on the earth back then. Let's see. Yeah, and my gloss right on that. The elect, right? They were they did exist from the foundation of the world because we know from the scriptures, and they were founded. So hell, some of the elect could have been around back then. And they died and they were reincarnated. That could be true. Ruby, what verse could you give me on that taking place somewhere outside of the physical earth? Someone asked, "Do you believe there were pre-Adamites?" Well, you'd have to clarify, but by pre-Adamite, I think you're saying because there's different theories out there, right? Some teach that there was like ancient civilizations of humans that existed before Adam and Eve, right? I believe they call them the pre-Adamites. So I wouldn't say I subscribe to that, but I understand that when Adam and Eve were on Earth, it was not just two people. There was nations of people, and I'll give you a perfect example. If there was only a handful of those people, right? Um, then their two children, right? Um, Cain and Abel, right? Well, where did Cain get his wife from? If there was only four people on the earth, so obviously there had to have been other humans that existed on the earth back then. So as I say, it just goes back to a misunderstanding, um, that we were told in church. Let's see. Well, really, as I said, you'd have to be able to prove that in the scriptures. Because I'll give you an example. What would happen if somebody said that Jesus was actually an alien from another world? You'd ask them, well, why do you believe that? I mean, you'd have to show me where Christ, said that he came from the planet Mars or something like that. I mean, if somebody said something like that, of course it's bullshit, but if somebody was to say that, you'd ask them, okay, well, like, why do you say that? Is there like reasons, in the scriptures that you came to such a conclusion? And then if they're like, oh, well, it's just common sense, or it's just, that's what it is. It's like, no, you can't say that. You got to be able to prove it. So what you said is invalid because you admitted that you can't really give a verse to prove it. Let's see. Well, demons, right? Demonic spirits, they can just like the angels, right? They can take on a human body, right? They can materialize themselves as a human, right? So I would believe that demonic spirits could also do the same, make themselves appear in some type of form, right? I believe they could be spirits, but I also believe those spirits could take on a form. Throughout my years of watching, paranormal stuff on the internet, which of course a lot of that's fake, of course, but there's a fair amount on there that seems to be real, right? So you can see there's definitely unexplained stuff on there. So I'd say that there's demonic entities that can materialize themselves, that look somewhat human-like. And even what is that? I want to say Job the fourth chapter. Could be mistaken. But even he spoke about what we call today sleep paralysis, right? Look it up. He was speaking about how he got terrified by the strange apparitions that appeared to him when he was trying to sleep. As I said, I believe that's Job the fourth chapter. You can look into it. So yeah, they can take on physical forms. Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, I think earlier I was talking about the guy saying that oh, Trump's the Antichrist. It's like, well, how could there be one Antichrist if the scriptures clearly tell you that anyone who doesn't believe in the Christ is an Antichrist? That somehow got skipped over though, right? That part, we'll skip over that. And is basically what they're saying. They're just to fit that narrative that there's just one man who's going to come up in the last time that's going to be this one man Antichrist. Pure nonsense. Let me see. Let's see. I'm just trying to read the chat real quick. Yeah, check out that link that Minor Golf put in the chat like 20 minutes ago. That was a good video. Check that out, man. Even the news agencies, they can't hide the fact anymore. The things are bad out here. They can't hide that, because everyone's seeing it. Which people knew it, regardless if the news told them or not, of course. But even the news has to be honest about that now, because it's just, it's too much. You know what I'm saying? Which we won't go for too long tonight. Spirit just got on me to hop on for a short, live show, just to speak about those couple of things. I'll go for a couple more minutes. If anyone has any last minute, questions or subject matters they'd like to be brought up, and then what I might do is maybe I'll try StreamYard out. I'm sure it's not gonna work, but I guess it could be worth a try. Matter of fact, is Mina Golf still here? Ruby asked, no, I wouldn't say you should be doing that, Ruby, because, the plants and stuff is defiled, now. You'll mind a golf, man. If you want to fire up a stream, I can try to hop on because my internet bar looks like it's full tonight. So that should let me hop on. As I said, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I guess it's worth a try, right? So if you want to try that out, I can try to hop on. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but as I said, I guess that's worth a try. So I'll let it wrap up real quick just because of my OCD. I'll let it play out to exactly 50 minutes. But yeah, we'll go over on Mina Golf's page. I'll try to hop on there, and yeah, that's what we'll do. But thank everyone for hopping on. The live chat. Some good questions came through, and oh, and Rebel, go ahead and hop on Mina Golf's page, man. Maybe we can have a chat about your question earlier. Because I think you had another question about that. We don't got time to answer that here. But I'll end the show off with that. I'll say shalom.